Good morning. It is March 26th, 2024, and it's time for another Taco Tuesday. I am excited to be joined today by three of our great vendor partners, LexisNexis, Bridgeman Education, and PowerNotes are all joining us today to give you bite-sized looks at some of their resources. So in the spirit of keeping my intro short and maximizing the time for our presenters, I am going to turn things over to Lynn and Ron joining us from LexisNexis.
Jeff, thank you so very much. We really appreciate this opportunity to talk about one of our LexisNexis products. So I just want to say good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lynn Smith, and I'm going to be the individual that's going to be doing most of the talking. But also on this call, I'm going to let Ron briefly introduce himself.
Yes, good morning, good afternoon to all. My name is Ron Joss, and I work with Lynn here at LexisNexis. And my responsibility here is simply to work with the different consortium members that we coordinate and sell Nexis Uni through, and then see if there's any ways that we can be a better service to the different members across the consortia population. But very nice to meet all of you. You're in good hands with Lynn here momentarily. I think you'll enjoy the presentation.
Well, thank you, Ron. Thank you, Ron. What I'm going to be talking about today is I'm going to be talking about shepherds. And anyone that is doing legal research, whether they are a expert or a novice, they do need to be aware of shepherds. So what is shepherds? Basically, number one, shepherds is a citator, meaning that it gives you the complete history of how a legal document has been cited by other legal documents. It's a secondary research tool, but more importantly, it is a validation tool, which is critical when conducting legal research. I do want you to be aware that Shepherds is exclusively on LexisNexis product, and in the academic market, that is Nexis Uni, and it is still considered the standard in the legal profession, the legal world. So basically, why do we use shepherds? Why do we shepherdize? Well, let's say you're doing research, you find that case, and I'm going to focus in on cases, even though you can shepherdize pretty much any legal document. So you find that case. As I tell people, before you get too excited, you need to make sure, you need to verify that that case is still good law. Because if it isn't good law in the legal world, you may not cite it, you may not use it. So basically, there are three things that would make a case bad law. And you're familiar with all three, you just don't know it. You have that reversal, also known as overturned. And that's basically what, happens on appeal. I mean, you have reversal, which basically happens on appeal. You also have overturned, overruled, which is usually a higher court doing to a lower court, or the court does to itself. For example, the Supreme Court, when the Supreme Court is reviewing one of its own cases, decision, it only has one option, and that is to overturn, overrule. And then I always remind people that in our wonderful government, we have three branches. Therefore, we have this wonderful check and balance, where that legislative branch, in conjunction with the executive branch, can pass a bill that becomes law that can supersede case law, or the Supreme Court can take a look at a law that Congress, in conjunction and not in conjunction with that executive branch, can say is unconstitutional. So those are basically the three things we're looking for: reversal, overturned, overruled, and then where we have kind of that check and balance. So as I tell people, in the legal world, when you're doing legal research, it's not about old and new, it's about good and bad. Meaning you can have a case from 1899 that is still good law, but a case from 2019 that is bad law. So it's not about old and new, it's about good and bad. At this point in time, I'm going to stop. I'm going to change what I'm sharing, and I'm going to go straight to the product. And so this, of course, is Nexis Uni. And at this time, I'm going to type in the name of a case, and I'm going to type in Plessy because I'm thinking of the landmark case of Plessy v. Ferguson. So What's nice about our main search box is if you start typing, what the system would do is it will do what we like to call preemptive language, helping you out, giving you suggestions. So I'm going to select that Plessy v. Ferguson. And the system's going to take me right here to the full text of this case. On your cases, you're going to see what we like to call, or what I like to call, the Lucky Charm symbols. So you're going to see a red stop sign that says stop, serious treatment, serious negative treatment. You better shepherdize it. You may see a green triangle, some negative treatment. You may see a green diamond, which indicates positive treatment. But if you're truly doing true legal research, it really doesn't matter what symbol you see, you still shepherdize. That's part of the legal research and writing process. So I can click on the Lucky Charm symbol, or over to the right, I can click on my shepherdize this document. And basically at this time, I'm going to shepherdize Plessy v. Ferguson. As we all know on this call, Plessy v. Ferguson was overruled by Brown versus the Board of Education of Topeka. But what I want to point out to you is over on the left side, you see the analysis. This is giving you all the different analysis that has happened to this particular case. So some of the different analysis I just want to point out is criticized by, distinguished by. Now, that's negative treatment, but it's not as bad as something that, of course, has been overturned, overruled, reversal. If I continue to go down and still looking to the left side, it's going to give you all of the different jurisdictions and how many times they have cited Plessy v. Ferguson. So if I wanted to see every time, every case in the wonderful state of Wisconsin that has cited Plessy v. Ferguson 14 times, I can click on that Wisconsin. And this would bring back every time a case from Wisconsin has cited Plessy v. Ferguson. But like I said, what most people are utilizing it for, they're utilizing it for that validation tool to make sure the case is still good law. Because if it isn't good law, we cannot cite to it, we cannot use it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on this overruled by. And like I said, we all know that Plessy v. Ferguson was overruled by Brown versus the Board of Education. And right here, this is the exact language where the Supreme Court basically overruled Plessy v. Ferguson. I do want you to be aware that it is a hypertext link. So I can click on this information, which is a hypertext link. And now the system would take me right there to the court's decision, its opinion, where it reads, any language in Plessy v. Ferguson is rejected. So it overturned all of Plessy v. Ferguson. I'm going to quickly do another case. And this time, the case that I'm going to do is I'm going to do a landmark case called the Dred Scott case. And if you ever find yourself, just kind of a plug for the wonderful city that I live in, if you ever find yourself in St. Louis, please go to the Dred Scott Museum. Basically a museum dedicated to the Dred Scott case. And just for those of you that are unfamiliar with Dred Scott was a slave. His master took him from a free state to from a slave state to a free state, back to a slave state. And he sued for his freedom because he felt like because he was taken to a free state, he was free. So here, the landmark case is actually Scott versus Sanford, but many of us know it as the Dred Scott case. Once again, I'm going to go ahead and shepherdize it. And this time I'm going to use the shepherdize this document over to the right. And so most people don't really get the significance of the Dred Scott case. Yes, we all know that the Supreme Court said, no, Dred Scott, you're still a slave. But the biggest significance of the Dred Scott case was that anybody of African descent, whether they were free or whether they were a slave, could never be a citizen of the United States. States. They were not entitled to any of the rights and privileges that comes within or from our U.S. Constitution. So remember I said we got that wonderful check and balance because we have those three branches of government. So here you see superseded by statute, really superseded by a Constitution amendment. As we all know, there was, hate to say it, a civil war. And from the Civil War, we got those, what is basically known as the Reconstruction Amendments, which is that 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. And we all know that 13th Amendment is what abolished slavery. And the reason why we have the 13th Amendment is because of that landmark decision, which said, once again, from the Dred Scott case, anyone of African American descent could not be a citizen of the United States. So once again, we see superseded by statute. Basically, like I said, it's actually a Constitution amendment. So we can go to any of these cases, these decisions, which are basically telling us, yes, this case was superseded by an amendment. So just kind of want you to be aware. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on this one. Once again, it's going to take you right there to the actual part of the court's decision where the court is basically letting you know Dred Scott no longer good law, especially because we have that 13th Amendment. So like I said before, Shepherd is a critical part of the legal research and writing process. We use it as a citator. One can get the complete history of how a legal document has been cited in other legal materials, but the most critical thing is that validation tool. If someone's doing legal research, they need to make sure that it is still good law, because in the legal world, we only cite to good precedent. And as I said before, Shepard's is part of the legal research and writing process. It is still the standard in the legal world, and it is exclusively only found on LexisNexis products, and in the academic market, that is Nexis Uni. So at this time, if there are any questions, I will take them.
Lynn, I haven't seen any questions come in to the chat window or the Q&A module, but anyone who's on the call live, if you do have any questions for Lynn, feel free to pose them in one of those ways, or raise your hand, and we can unmute you, or whatever.
And I'm just going to go back to the PowerPoint presentation for one moment, just to put back my information and Ron's information. If you ever have any questions, concerns, please do not hesitate to contact us. That's our job, and that's what we're here for.
Thanks, Lynn. I haven't seen anything come in yet, but I will also just remind everyone that LexisNexis is a long-time WiLS vendor partner, and we do have a Nexis Uni group with some of our academic members. So if you're interested in learning about pricing or trial access or any of that kind of stuff, do know that I know that Ron and I will be happy to provide that kind of information. And Lynn, of course, is this kind of world-class trainer and teacher here on the resources available. So I'm sure she would gladly answer any questions along those lines too.
Well, thank you so very much, Jeff. We really appreciate this opportunity. So like I said, if anyone ever has any questions, please do not hesitate to contact us directly, or if you don't have our information, contact Jeff, and he would definitely make sure he gets you in touch with us.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again, Lynn. And I'm really always fascinated. I've done several webinars with Lynn over the last few weeks, really, and she's always showing me something really cool that I didn't even know about. Shepard's is in that category. That seems like that would be critical to the process of doing that kind of legal research. So thank you so much for sharing with us.
You're more than welcome. Thank you for having us.
Thank you all, Jeff. Take care.
All right. Well, with that, we will be switching over to our next presenter. I'm just going to get ourselves set up for that. Our next speaker joining us from Bridgeman Education is Tom. Tom, are you ready to take over?
Hey Jeff, yeah, absolutely. Would you like me to try and share my screen?
Yeah, you can go right ahead.
All right, let me see here. Okay. So hopefully you guys can see my screen now.
Yes, we
Is
can.
that correct? Can you guys see that? Okay.
Looks good.
Awesome. All right. Well, is that okay, Jeff, for me to just go ahead and kick off?
Yep, it's all
Okay.
yours now.
Well, welcome everyone, and yeah, I echo the LexisNexis sentiments. Thanks to Jeff and the WiLS team for the opportunity to present to you guys, and thanks for everyone attending live, and for those watching the recording, we appreciate your time for sure. My name is Tom, and I am from Bridgeman Education. For those of you not familiar with Bridgeman Education, Bridgeman Education is an electronic resource for libraries. Don't worry, I won't read out too much text from the slide decks that we're about to present, but I will read out this nice quote here from our friends at Library Journal saying that Bridgeman Education is breathtaking, a beautifully rendered product at a sensible price, obviously a labor of love and enormous creativity. The high quality and extensive content is made easily accessible through quick search and browsing in a wealth of categories and subcategories. Unreservedly recommended for all libraries serving anyone needing images. So essentially, Bridgeman Education is a visual database used by all kinds of libraries worldwide, big and small. And we are a collection of millions of images, be it photography, artwork, artifacts, you name it. So an incredibly useful educational resource for anyone looking to research and use images in their research, essentially. So you might be wondering, how have we amassed all of these images? And the answer is we are very much the sum of our parts. Bridgeman has been going for over 50 years, and our collection snowballs as and when we partner with museums, libraries, even auction houses. You see Christie's and Sotheby's named there, galleries worldwide. So some of the highlights are here, and some of the numbers are on the screen as well, just showing you the diversity and array of content that's available via Bridgeman Education for library users to explore and research. Just to give you a sense of some of the current subscribers to Bridgeman Education, you can see a lot of major US universities and colleges subscribe, but we're also used by public libraries, also used by middle school libraries. I think one of the wonderful things about Bridgeman Education is this platform is used on a daily basis by professors as well as school children as well as students. So it's it's an amazing resource, and we'll take some of the brief time available here to just dive into some of the content that's available to you guys, should you wish to subscribe to Bridgeman Education, as well as some of the functionality that the platform enables you and empowers you to use. The beauty of Bridgeman Education is, I mentioned the sort of snowballing as and when we sign up new collections. I think what's amazing is that it is not a static resource, i.e. it's constantly evolving and growing as and when we sign up a new historical society, a new museum. We add the available content from those respective archives to the Bridgeman Education platform. So again, it's something that is constantly growing and improving, therefore, in the range of content available. There are the sort of key factors one would expect for a library should they subscribe in terms of access. So IP authentication and recognizing that and enable you to log in via IP address as opposed to needing a specific login, for instance. We also provide usage data upon request, should you wish to track how popular this resource is, what's being searched for even, all that good stuff we can provide upon request. We're also very happy, and I would be the one partnering with any subscribers. We're more than happy to provide in-depth demos, trial access if needs be before subscribing. That's totally free. We're happy to provide a free trial if you guys want to sort of dip your toe in the water and check it out a little bit before actually committing to subscribing. Happy to arrange that. I'll provide my contact details, obviously, at the end of the presentation here. So just to dive a little bit, and we will provide some brief demos of some of these tools, but just to give you kind of an overview, as I say, it's a constantly growing archive. Currently, we've got around just over 3 million images available. These images can be downloaded and used in sort of classroom presentation use. It's obviously a digital platform, and it has the sort of functionality one would expect for classroom use, be it for a teacher or a student or a lecturer. There is a slideshow functionality, so you can add images to a slideshow. You can present that slideshow using the platform. You can also share it with anyone. They don't have to be a subscriber. You can simply email them a link to the slideshow. And there's basic image functionality one would expect, such as being able to zoom in and also crop images should you wish to. Librarians will be happy to hear that there's a lot of strong search functionality, very good metadata. So yes, you're able to find what you're looking for, therefore. So just to dig in a little bit more in terms of the range of content and visual content available via Bridgeman Education, it really does run the gamut of all curriculums and syllabus that today's students, today's teachers are involved with. You can see the headlines there, but we'll quickly just show you by subject some slides that really unearths the possibilities of Bridgeman Education. As you can see here with this ancient history slide, again, it runs the gamut. We have artifacts, sculpture, photography, you name it. And same here with the archaeology and anthropology slide. You've got the nice portrait of Darwin. You've got computer-generated images such as the skull, and you've got archaeological sites. So again, you can really see the range of stuff that we have here. We have ethnographic photography, as one can see, educational stuff, sort of the evolution of man, more on the physical anthropology side. But then we also have this beautiful portrait here by one of our contemporary artists that Bridgeman represents, based out of London. And that content is also available to search within the Bridgeman Education platform. So again, you can really see the range of stuff here. Lots of beautiful photography for architecture students and teachers. And it does really go across the spectrum. So lots of science related content, as you can see here. And all different types of content, from a photo taken within the last year to a diagram created recently. But then you've even got stuff here such as the Da Vinci image down the bottom with the fetus. So again, it really spans history and all types of imagery one could expect to find within an educational visual database. So you can see some further examples here as well. Film studies in particular, we're very strong on. Again, by virtue of us signing up archives that specialize in these types of subjects and adding them to the Bridgeman Education platform. So you don't just have stills from movies, you have posters, you even have this like cool Hitchcock caricature, you even have shots of scripts available. And again, you can just see further examples of the wide range of subject matter available here. History is a core strength of Bridgeman Education. A lot of users do like to work on historical projects when using Bridgeman Education. And again, you can just see the depth and breadth globally and across all eras that we have available to subscribers. And it's not just history. I guess another key subject matter area for Bridgman Education is literature. Again, as I mentioned with the film scripts, we have documents. I believe this one's from the British Library, who we represent. So this is a page from a manuscript there. All sorts of author portraits, both from contemporary authors as well as historical authors, as you can see. Music as well is a real strong point of the content available via Bridgman Education. As discussed, I mean, we have all subject matters covered, but this is a particularly strong point. Reason being, we've added so much on that area as it's a popular area of focus for researchers who currently subscribe to Bridgman Education. So again, we have photography of performances, we have both historical and contemporary. Further examples here of works by contemporary artists as well that Bridgman represents and whose content's available on Bridgman Education. We even have, as you can see here, musical sheets that are available to search and use. And again, further examples of scientific stuff here and political, historical stuff as well that we have available to you guys. Religion, again, is a really key, strong area for us, again, because that's where a lot of people are coming to us, and we find a lot of people are researching religious areas on Bridgman Education. So it's in our best interest to make sure that we have great content, not just artwork, again, plenty of photography, even manuscripts, shots from key texts, and even contemporary art again. So you can see a really nice contemporary piece here of Moses parting the waves. And of course, we want to be as diverse and inclusive as possible. So all faith content of representing all faiths and creeds is represented right here. And again, these are just snapshots, really. We have so many images on all subjects, but this showcases, again, more sort of performing art stuff, particularly theatrical based content that is available for search. So lots of really cool performance photography here, but also, again, nice sort of playbill stuff of a Shakespeare piece here as well. So again, you can get a sense of the vast range of content available via the Bridgman Education database. So just real quick, going into some of the functionality within the site. So here you can see the Bridgman Education platform once you are logged in as a subscriber. One of the key things beyond simple researching and looking at the images, finding images, you can actually look at and download images that are of interest for use in whatever you're working on. Maybe you're putting a paper together, maybe it's a class presentation, be you a teacher or a student. You can clearly see here by simply logging in and downloading, hitting the download arrow, you can quickly get and access an image file for use. Furthermore, you can create slideshows, as I mentioned earlier on the call, which is a really powerful tool. Again, if you want to maybe present to a lecture, maybe you want to just pull some images together and share them with a colleague. So here in the example, if one were to do a quick search for the Battle of Midway, you can see the range of images available here, lots of photography as one might expect, but also even some artwork, some propaganda posters, etc. And you can either create a new slideshow, should you wish to, or you could simply add to an existing one, because you do have the ability to not only create, but also save slideshows, and they'll be saved there in your archive. And yeah, if you find anything that you wish to add to a slideshow that you're creating or that you're working on and you've gone back to, you can simply simply hit the plus icon there, as you can see, and then that content is then immediately added to the slideshow that you're working on. So you can browse around, and again, you can see and get a sense of the platform here and the search functionality, the user experience. And again, you can see some of the real range of stuff that we have. It's not just black and white photography. There's a nice color painting as well. It's not just warfare shots. Some of the key historical figures related to the battle are also included because their metadata in the search obviously has Battle of Midway come up. Now, if you're happy with your selections and you want to view the slideshow, you simply click View Slideshow, as we saw there. And if I just hit the Play Slideshow button or the Share button, actually, I can easily share this with anyone. All I need is an email address. I mentioned earlier, you do not have to be a subscriber in order to receive a slideshow that someone's sharing with you. Just need to add their email address and that slideshow will then be emailed to them so they can click on a link and view that specific slideshow. You can download the slideshow and save it, which is obviously handy if you want to play that when you're presenting. It's right there. You wouldn't necessarily have to log into the platform. You can download it. And then here you can see, once you've added stuff to your slideshow, how it looks when you're presenting and you've pressed play on the slideshow. You've got all your images coming up here that you've added. You can even modify the order of the slideshow should you wish to, which again is super helpful if you are doing a class presentation, of course. So yeah, moving on from the slideshow, I mentioned as well, you also have the ability to crop an image should you wish to do so. So you can see here in the search, we've pulled up some science-based images. So again, you can see the sort of range of content we have on a variety of academic topics. If there's an image that's of particular interest, you can click the button to edit the image, and it enables you, as you're seeing on the screen here, to crop an image if you really wanted to hone in on a particular area. So this particular example is probably a good one because you've got a lot of dark space here, kind of nothing really going on that's of necessary interest, but you really want to zoom in on the key element of this particular photo for your project that you're working on, be it research or what have you. You can do that. So you do the crop functionality there, and it's then saved. So if you were to go back to the image, you can then download that cropped image. As you can see, we've removed that negative space on that particular image, and you can use the cropped one, as I say, as you wish to do in your research. So further example here with a space image that we have, again, just to show you the functionality available. If you wanted to zoom on a particular element, you certainly could do so. So if you want to zoom in on this particular satellite and you're not too worried about the remainder of the planet, I guess that's being shown there, you can do that very easily. You just, as you can see on the screen here, it's really quite simple tech. It's not too hard to do. It's quite intuitive, which is great because, again, we have students and scholars of all ages using this platform. And then just lastly, in terms of some key functionality to share with you guys, is the Zoom tool. Really quite straightforward. As an example here, we've got some illuminated manuscripts, some religious manuscripts. We have a lot of these available as discussed, but a lot of these works, you really might want to zoom in. You might want to focus on a particular figure within the artwork or the photo. As you can see here, you have a picture of Jesus and the disciples, an ancient Greek manuscript. Maybe you want to zoom in on the text. Maybe you want to zoom in on a particular figure, as I mentioned. As you can see here with this pretty standardized magnifying tools that we're all used to, the zoom icons, you're able to do that on this platform once logged in. So yeah, that was a whirlwind tour of Bridgeman Education. As I say, it's a world-class visual database for libraries of all shapes and sizes. I've included my contact info here. Obviously, the WiLS folks have that as well. So yeah, if anyone has any questions either now or at a later date, please don't hesitate to reach out to me or WiLS, and I can get back to you guys. I'll stop sharing as well.
Tom, thank you so much. I'm always glad to have you here because this is the kind of resource that I think, as you pointed out, spans all different disciplines, all different classes, different levels of education. You can see applications in the public libraries, in the school libraries, in the higher.
Oh yeah,
You know, everything. I mean, everyone needs this kind of thing. Doesn't matter if you're in this if you're in the sciences or the humanities or any
yeah.
applications
If you're,
across.
yeah, you're right. I feel it like mirrors a library, hopefully, right? In that it's open to everyone. Everyone's researching different stuff, and we're trying to make it as useful as possible to everyone, all levels of understanding, learning, and areas of interest in terms of subject matter. So yeah, happy to be a part of it for sure.
Well, thanks again for joining us, Tom. I'll echo Tom. If you have any questions, if you're watching live or you're watching the recording afterwards, if you have any questions, please do reach out to us here at WiLS or to Tom directly, and we will get you answers. So thanks again for being here, Tom.
My pleasure. Thank you for organizing. Thanks.
Have a great day.
You too. Take care.
Right. I'm going to share my screen one more time, just to get us all set for our last presenter. All right. Excuse me. Joining us from PowerNotes is Kyle. Kyle, are you ready to take over?
Good afternoon, Jeff. Yes, I am.
All right. I'll stop sharing my screen. That should let you share yours, and you have the floor.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And in case I forget on the back end, we really appreciate you inviting us and all the work that you and your team do to put these on each quarter.
Well, thank you. We're happy to have you.
Excellent. All righty. Let me share my screen here and we will jump right into the fun stuff. Perfect. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat, of course, or you can write me or contact the WiLS team as well. So we are going to talk a little bit today about the hottest topic in education and in the world, generative AI. Specifically with PowerNotes, I'm going to show you how you and your faculty can bring AI into research and learning securely, effectively, and with total transparency. We won't cover everything, but PowerNotes does have an academic integrity solution built in. If you are not familiar with the platform, we will start there with a quick overview. So essentially, we provide a complete methodology for research, writing, and note-taking built on best practices for today's teaching and learning challenges. So this methodology we've had in place since really before November of 2022 when OpenAI flipped the world upside down. But since then, we've worked closely with our subscribing schools to intentionally design how AI would fit into this methodology. Students have always been tasked with researching, identifying research, pulling in their own thoughts, writing, and incorporating all of that into an effective workflow. Now we provide librarians and faculty with a way to introduce AI into that workflow with transparency and with a little more control. If you're curious to know more about our core tools, which are available completely without our AI integration, feel free to let me know. I'd be happy to host a demonstration without the AI tools. But for today, we're going to focus on how we can bring AI into this process and do so with some safeguards that librarians and faculty will appreciate. So I'm going to jump into a PowerNotes project. In this case, the PowerNotes project was shared with a student by an instructor. PowerNotes can be used independently as well. Many of our academic library subscribers will promote PowerNotes as a tool for independent research and productivity. In this example, I thought it would be fun if we saw an assignment coming in from an instructor, and the assignment I've created is something that may hit home for you all. A research project on the Wisconsin dairy industry. So this is a PowerNotes project outline. All projects will have a similar outline that students can create. They can use this interface to become more productive and organized. But in this example, an instructor created it, sent it over to my example student, Ethan, provided some readings, an overview, added some topics. Ethan's already come in here and added some writing. And this was all sent to them by the instructor. But as I mentioned, you can also promote this to students. They can use the interface to build out these outlines on their own. So in reality, we have two AI features. They're powered by a backend integration with either OpenAI's ChatGPT, OpenAI's GPT-4. We can also plug in Anthropic Claude, Amazon Titan, or Meta Llama. Any commercially available language model we can plug in for the student. We think that's important, so students are knowing what they're interacting with, so you can keep track of how those models are being trained and everything in between. With PowerNotes, when the students are using generative AI, in this case, I'm using ChatGPT, all student privacy and data is protected. OpenAI will not know who the person is. They will only know it's coming from PowerNotes.com. So the student identity is kept secure along with their data. So the data is only saved for 30 days, scanned for abuse, and then deleted, and it is not used to train the models. So there's that layer of student privacy. Also, with PowerNotes, faculty and librarians decide where students can use the AI. If an assignment doesn't call for the AI, or if you don't want to make it available to everyone, you don't have to turn it on. In this case, it's been activated. So here we can use Brainstorm with AI. This gives you the ability to put a chat bot directly in an assignment where everything is transparent. So the first thing the student might do here, as they got this assignment, it says, okay, AI, tell me more about the Wisconsin dairy industry. In this case, you may allow students or even encourage students to use the AI for a question like this. You, of course, do not want them to take the AI's knowledge as a matter of fact. That's where a lot of people are getting in trouble. But in this case, you might be able to brainstorm, ask them questions and get a general idea. You can keep asking questions. Everything's logged and transparent. Students cannot delete this information, even if they want to bring the AI-generated text into their outline and have it sit with their own writing and with their own research. Just like everything else in PowerNotes, it will be tagged and cited. So that's what we call open prompting. All of these are stored in what are called sessions. As you can see here, they cannot be deleted. There's always a path back to see where that information came from. You can also annotate and comment on the different responses. So I'm going to show just a glimpse inside of the core PowerNotes features if you're not familiar with it. So I have a few sources pulled up here. PowerNotes will work natively on top of just about any digital source. PDFs, things on the open web, your library database content, ebook platforms, etc. So let's pull up just this source here. I found this news source from the Wisconsin Public Radio, just doing some Googling, and now I want to maybe read this and pull in information. The browser extension is a piece of the platform that students will likely utilize the most because it streamlines how they gather, organize, and track information. So we have that outline, but everything in that outline will sync to our browser extension. So you can add this extension to Chrome, Firefox, or Edge. And when you have the extension added, you can activate the sidebar. So this sidebar can be pulled up on just about any source, like I mentioned, and this allows you to see what you're working on, and the extension allows you to pull information in. So let's highlight some text. Please don't give me a grade on this. I'm just going to show some functionality here. So when I highlight information, this is PowerNotes coming into play. We show you the project that you are in along with your outline. So you can add to this outline, or in this example, the instructor created a template and sent it out to students. So you can organize this, take notes, and then keep on reading. We will automatically grab a link back to the source when the students highlight text, so they can never forget where something came from. We also have an automatic citation generator. This is one of the features, just like with the AI, that you can turn on or off. In this case, it's turned on, so I click Confirm Citation, the sidebar view changes, and it shows a generated citation. You can edit these, delete these, update them, change the format. There's a lot of customization here. So the URL will capture automatically, even within EBSCO and their permalinks, which I've heard that they're doing away with, thankfully. But PowerNotes, when we integrate with schools, we take a look at how your sources are proxied on or off campus to ensure that students are always having that correct link saved when they grab information. You can also bookmark source. As you're pulling in information, you'll see we grab a URL, but maybe you don't have time to read them. You can just click bookmark while you are in the source, and you can annotate that just like that. It will work, like I said, on just about every source that you can find. You can also take notes and combine your own writing in with the research that you're pulling in. Now, in terms of AI, our second AI tool lives within the browser. It has nothing to do with generating text that students might use. It's all about research productivity. And here it's called Discovery. So there's a button here. When it's enabled, you'll see it in this green icon. When you're on any source, you click a button and the AI will do three things for the article that you are on. It will start by providing a summary. So here's an abstract of these pages. Then it provides research topics. The research topics are a little unique because we don't just say, okay, from the text on this page, here are our search terms that we're extracting. We can actually run a search for the student either in Google or in your school's library discovery. So we have an integration where if you click a button, so let's click, maybe this is what I'm looking for here, the impact of emerging technologies on Wisconsin dairy farming. This is exactly what I need to find for this project. So the AI will provide that, but it's on the student to read through all the information here. So here are the top 10 results. In this example, I'm coming from Google. As I mentioned, we can also configure this with your library discovery. And just like if you ran a Google search, you can click on the links. It'll bring up that new source. That project will go with you, and you can keep using PowerNotes there as well. So the research topics are really designed to help the students find relevant information quickly and get them right in front of what they need to find. Below that, we have a Q&A. So a Q&A is one of the places where you have a chat bot that will only respond if the information is relevant to the article. So we start by asking and answering 3 questions just to show the users how it works. Then here at the bottom, you have a place to ask your own questions. So if, like with other AI tools, like most AI tools, if you ask it a question, it will provide an answer. But here, if I say something silly like, what is the meaning of life? Since I'm not reading a paper on philosophy, it lets me know that's not related. And you can only answer questions about this topic. So it allows you to ask questions, query the article that you're reading to really extract those key pieces of the key pieces of information you're looking for. So once again, this is called Discovery. It's used in tandem with the annotation tools here in the sidebar. These can be turned on or off, and it allows you to find and become more productive. So let's actually grab some other research. I'll use air quotes there because I'm just pulling in random highlights. But I want to show some functionality here in the last minute or so with a tool that we call closed prompting. And closed prompting is important because it allows you to turn your own research, into the AI's knowledge, which, going back to some of the issues that we've seen, it's when students are relying on the AI to find sources and utilizing the AI to generate knowledge. We all know the AI is good at writing. We all know that it struggles with actual facts because it can't differentiate between what's wrong and what's right. It just knows what's on the internet or what's within a certain database. All right, so let's go back to this outline where we started. Now I have the work that I've collected. This is how a typical PowerNotes outline might look before AI. You can take this work, reorganize it. You can drag things across topics. You can export this, share this. You can do a lot here. But along with being able to ask open questions, as I did at the start, you can do what's called a closed prompt. So what we mean by closed, we mean that it's closing the AI's knowledge. So I might say, from this research, identify unifying concepts. But instead of just asking that question, which it probably wouldn't give me a great answer, I'm going to select the research that I want it to operate from. And I'm going to select the work that I've already captured. So once again, this is a feature that you can turn on, and maybe only turn this feature on. So you tell students, you can use AI, but you need to go out and do the work first. So let's send that out. This is just as before, it labels the student's name. In yellow here, you have the information that's being fed in. Here's the prompt, then here's the response. We want to bring down the chances of the AI hallucinating. Let students interact with this emerging technology in a safe and transparent environment, and also do so in a way where they can share and collaborate. And you can see all of this happen. Even if you want to bring this, how about we do this? How about say summarize? I'll show you how you can pull that right into your outline. Let's get something shorter. And when you bring the AI generated text into your outline, it's tagged, it's cited. Even if you decide to edit the AI response, which you can do when it's in the outline, we show how the AI response was edited, a red line version, and there's always a path back to where it came from. So that's a lot. We went over a lot there in the last 15 minutes. As you can see, we want to bring AI into a research and writing process, not have it replace or do the work for students. On the back end, instructors and librarians can set up expectations so students cannot bypass those by using external AI tools or contract cheating. We want to really make everything transparent, make it visible from start to finish, whether that's with AI or without. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. I can go back here. This is my email address, and I'd be happy to host another demonstration of some sort, answer any questions you may have. But thank you all so much today for the time. I hope you found this interesting, and wishing you all the best as you wrap up the spring semester.
Thank you so much, Kyle. It really is fascinating to see how our various vendor partners and their products are working to integrate or just live in this new world and see kind of the changes that it's bringing about in how you work and how students and faculty have to work. And I'm really excited to see you and other companies kind of stepping up and finding ways to make your resources relevant and helpful to address these kind of new challenges.
Thank you, Jeff. I'll end by saying what you saw there, that's the byproduct of dozens of conversations with our partner schools over the past few years. We take those collaborations very seriously because we cannot just build things and say, here, this is how we want you to use it. We have to say, all right, from an educator's perspective, how should AI be introduced? How can it be used? What are the safeguards needed? So with all that in mind, if you have ideas, if you've been looking for ways to pilot AI or just, dip your toe into the AI transition, we'd be happy to help set up a pilot so it's all done effectively and safely. So yeah, we really appreciate that, Jeff. It's a very interesting time to say the least.
Yeah, no kidding. Another great example of how the company and the user or the customer are able to collaborate and feedback to each other. So I really appreciate that kind of work as well. Thanks so much for sharing with us today, Kyle.
Excellent. Thank you.
Well, if anybody does have questions for Kyle, his contact information you can see earlier in the recording, but you can also reach out to us here at WiLS. We'll gladly answer a question if we can, but we'll put you in touch with Kyle. Probably it'll be Kyle but we're happy to make that connection. That is going to bring us to the end of another Taco Tuesday here at WiLS. So I will say thank you to all three of our vendor partners for joining us today and showing us some really great resources and updates to resources and things that I wasn't even aware of. So it's always an educational experience for me, just as much as for our members who are viewing. Thank you to those of you who are attending, whether you're here live or watching the recording after the fact. And I will say, as always, please come back for another Taco Tuesday here at WiLS. Again, in 2 weeks, we will be joined by another slate of WiLS vendor partners to show off what's new and cool from their offerings. That is on April 9th at 11:30 a.m. Central. Thanks again, and I hope everyone has a really great afternoon. Bye all.